of amazing stories, from trees hundreds of years old still standing today, a tragic quest for love, and yes, the real Granny Smith. Still got your attention? Good, because here are 5 apple names explained. Bramley apples are usually eaten in pies because uncooked they are disgusting. In 1809, the young Mary Ann Brailsford planted the first Bramley apple tree seeds in her home's garden in Nottinghamshire, where it still stands to this day producing apples. Years later, in 1856, local nurseryman Henry Merriweather asked the then owner of the gardens if he could sell the apples the tree now bare. Mary Ann Brailsford had since moved away. The current owner said yes, but only on the condition the apples sold be named after him, his name being Matthew Bramley. And with that, the Bramley apple was born. The Granny Smith apple is perhaps the most famous cultivar of apples. Their origins lie in a part of Australia that is now a suburb of Sydney. When Maria Ann Smith, not to be confused with Mary Ann Brailsford of Bramley apple fame, emigrated to the area, she and her husband purchased a small orchard in 1855 and cultivated the fruit. One story even claims the modern apple was bred when Maria Ann Smith threw the remains of another apple out her window and the tree started to grow below her windowsill. Whatever the case was, these apples were a hit, and as she grew older, had children, and became a prominent figure in her community, Maria Ann Smith became known as Granny Smith, as did her apples. The pink pearl apple is a type of apple I hadn't heard of before researching this video, but look how adorable / suggestive it looks depending on how dirty your mind is. American plant breeder Albert Etta set to breed a red / pink fleshed apple. When Etta finally achieved this kind of apple, his partners at the California Nursery Company helped release him to the public in 1940. Head of the company was George Roding Jr., who christened the apple the Pink Pearl for, well, obvious reasons. McIntosh apples are the national apple of Canada, yet despite this lofty honour, my UK doesn't even have a national apple, the man who discovered the apple was actually from New York State. John McIntosh travelled to Canada in 1796 to follow his love, Dolly Irwin, who had been taken there by her loyalist parents. By the time John reached her, it was too late and she'd unfortunately died. In grief and disbelief, John dug up her body, sobbed upon her corpse, and set off to find a plot of land. After clearing the land, McIntosh found 20 small apple trees. All died except one, and it was this one where the McIntosh apple comes from today. Of course, I couldn't talk about apples without mentioning the apple. It was Macintosh Apples Apple Inc. named their line of computers after. Maybe you've heard of the Cripps pink cultivar of apple, but if you haven't, it's most likely because you know it under its trademark name, Pink Lady. They were originally bred in Australia by John Cripps as a hybrid from crossbreeding 2 other kinds of apple, the Lady Williams and the Golden Delicious. It was called the Cripps Pink, yet when it came to putting on the market, Cripps settled on selling under the name Pink Lady, in honour of the Pink Lady Martini the hero drinks in his favourite book, Nicholas Monsert, The Cruel Sea. See, I told you apples are fascinating, but what are your favourite apples and how did they get their names? Tell me down below. Now excuse me while I go leave an apple on my lecturer's desk. I need to pass university